long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So, 72-year-old Mark Hamill, as in old enough to be either a lot of our father or grandfather, got dragged into drama he didn't need or want. Now we understand Mark online is an obnoxious left-wing dumbass with a TDS issue that only the sterling talents of Niles Crane or Dr. Fraser Crane could solve for him. But here we are. He is a lot older than the people that are dragging him into drama. Now, what is the drama? The drama is the fact Star Wars Theory used Star Wars Theory's face with a few tweaks to make it look like Luke in a fan fiction he's creating. And it actually is quite beautiful, okay? But it's not Mark. If you look at Star Wars Theory and see the face, you see more Star Wars Theory than you do Mark Hamill. But the Shillington shills, the shillogists of the sequel trilogy and just dumbasses in general, online decided to drag a 72-year-old man into a fight because they wanted to shut down Star Wars Theory because he was making something that wasn't positive towards what they like, which is Mary Sue, Kyle Ron, Daddy Butcher. Basically, they're the anti-Star Wars fans. And the way they went about it is really quite childish, to the point where Star Wars Theory actually made a video thinking that Mark didn't like him. Which, when you see the next tweet coming up, pretty much says, Mark isn't mad, he doesn't give a shit, leave him alone. But when you've got, people between the age of like 18 and 50 who haven't matured beyond the age of 15, harassing you online about something that really isn't any of your concern, because it's not your face, and I think he understood that, you just give him a one-word reply. Now, a lot of people took what Mark said and didn't look at the context. And the context is simply, no, I'm not mad at this guy. Please leave me the fuck out of your drama. That's it. That's what he said. And I was a bit angry at Theory for even paying attention to it when he made the video. Then Ethan Van Sciver took over. And, we've got people like this dude attacking a friend of mine. We've got that going on, and it's like, that's not the point, okay? And then we've got people like Carl Meow, who tried to attack Theory, and now he's talking about Rey here, and the hatred for Rey. And then these idiots, Ash Rendar, this is just an example of the stupidity going on, okay? And, these people aren't black pills. They're not anti-Last Jedi. They rationalize that Mark actually really liked The Last Jedi and loved what they did with, Luke, despite the fact that Mark said publicly everywhere he could he hated it, and told them, rightly, the fans aren't going to like this. Well, the fans stopped liking it after what they saw what Kennedy had done to Han Solo. But we've talked ad nauseum about why that might have happened. And, but the stuff with Luke, Mark was right about that too, okay? He was right about what they did to Leia, even though he never really said anything. But let's talk about where this all came from.
For 10 long weeks, the Star Wars company labored on the suburban London sound stages, bringing to life a film that had begun as an idea with George Lucas 3 years before.
Urinal cakes? I don't believe this. All these years, the doyenne of Seattle's elite, looking down her nose at everyone in sight. She owes it all to this. She's managed to have her urinal cake and eat it too.
First off, the fact of the matter is, Mark probably still feels the sting of being completely ignored by that little putz, Rian Johnson. And I don't think he wants to hear about it, about somebody who's actually trying to do right by the character that he played, that everybody loved so much, being a bad person because they dared to put Luke in a heroic light. And it's obvious that it's not really Mark in the picture. He said he wasn't angry. If you want to take that and run with it. And of course, then we've got people, saying, it's true you should never meet your heroes because they're human, okay? And if you do meet your heroes and they're human, you've met someone who's just a normal dude who did something amazing. That's what a hero is, okay? Mark is just a normal dude. He's an old hippie who tries really too hard to be an old hippie, by the way. And I would tell him that. And that's that. And that's okay. The fact of the matter is that, again, I'm going to say this again, he's 72 years old. He doesn't need to be dragged into YouTube drama or X drama by a bunch of people who, if you look at their bios, aren't fans of his. I mean, you've got people who just think Rey is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it's like, she sucks. Okay, and everybody knows she sucks. To be honest, I think the people who like her know she sucks. I think Daisy knows she sucks. And that's the fact. So we, have to accept that, I think. And I think the people who like the character really do need to accept that because we're not changing. Okay. But back to Mark. Reminding him of what they did to this character that basically defined his career, is bullshit. Okay? But when you look at the people who dragged him into the Star Wars theory thing, the world revolves around them. They get attention from Mark Hamill. There. Golf clap. Okay? They don't understand that no one gives a fuck about them or their opinions. And they didn't do it because they're upset that Theory used Luke Skywalker and made him kind of look like the actual Luke Skywalker. They're mad at Theory because he's doing something that takes away from what they love or think they love. Their religion, which is social justice, hating old white men, white people in general. And I'm going to say something. A lot of these are rich, wealthy, white kids who were raised and taught to despise themselves. Okay? And it's very interesting when you're watching this go on that guys like Mark Hamill don't see it for what it is. Okay? He doesn't understand them at all because they don't understand the character he played. And the people responsible for this dumpster fire of bullshit, and I'm not talking about Theory right now, Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, and to an extent, J.J. Abrams. I look at J.J. and say, Han Solo is your fault. It is not Ryan's fault. You were the one that had the director's chair and the writer's chair to do something noble and extraordinary with that character. Instead, you made him look like the bad guy and gave him Palpatine's a death worthy of Palpatine, for fuck's sake. Luke Skywalker, Mark still feels the humiliation. Mark still feels unheard. Okay? The only people that have listened to him since The Last Jedi came out, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. All right? But again, Kathleen Kennedy's little minions, whether she knows who they are or not, get pissed off. And this is why they're pissed off, because Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker is being revived in a fan film by the biggest Star Wars YouTuber out there. And what he's done with it is absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay? And it's something to really appreciate. And I think Mark probably watched the hologram and said, wow, that's great. I love it. Because it gives him back the essence of who the character was and who he wanted Luke to be. Okay, and instead of whatever that was, Jake Skywalker. And look, I've always thought The Last Jedi was an intentional bullying and emasculation of that character. It was bullying Carrie Fisher too. Now, 25 years ago, had they made this and tried to do that, Carrie would have been the one going to Bob Iger saying, I don't like this director. Get rid of him. And he would have been gone. Okay. If Harrison Ford had decided to do one more movie, and he did regret leaving too early, and he even said so to Larry Kasdan, and I believe the guy, had he been part of the Last Jedi cast, he would have gotten Rian Johnson fired probably at the table reading. He'd have been like, no, we're not doing this. This is, I don't know what you're trying to do to Mark, but this is bullshit. And I don't like what you're doing to my character either. You know, it is deconstruction, and that is a left-wing thing that they do to Western culture and our heroes. It doesn't matter if it's King Arthur or Luke Skywalker. All right? They want to take your heroes away. All right? Mark probably doesn't look at it like that, but it's what they did to him. Okay? And these idiots going after Star Wars theory and dragging Mark into it, he's 72 years old, don't even know that this is the problem. Don't remind somebody of something that was, I think, traumatic. When you have Mark Hamill crying on the set about what they're doing to Luke, you've got a problem, okay? He was a victim of bullying, and because he doesn't have the cachet of a Harrison Ford or even Carrie Fisher, he couldn't put an end to it. You know, I mean, and that's the bottom line. So when they dragged him into this argument or this drama they created, because they're horrified that someone's making the character look heroic again, because they need their Wraith fix, because they need validation through that fucking character, they reminded him of all the bad stuff that happened. And, thusly, they showed him inadvertently, without realizing it, Theory was trying to resurrect the Luke Skywalker that everybody knew and loved, and that part of that everybody was Mark Hamill himself. No, Mark Hamill is not angry at Theory. He's probably pissed off at being dragged into the drama, looked at what Theory did and said, I like it. No, I'm not mad at him. Leave me the fuck out of your high school drama. Okay. And let me tell you, if you look at Mark's tweeting history, he's not as mature as he should be for 72. You notice that Harrison Ford isn't on X. He's not on any social media. I really don't think any actor in their stratosphere, their sphere of their sphere, their realm should be on social media. Keep the mystery there, okay? Keep the mystery there. But again, this all goes back to the queen of urinal cake filmmaking, Kathy Kennedy, and her foreman of urinal cake making, Ryan Johnson, and the other one, J.J. Abrams. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.